include other people in it.
Right.
That's a gang. And so he got me straightened out about that, gangs and stuff.
So the police, the army, the Marines, the Navy,
everybody's a gang.
Those are gangs.
Yeah, yeah. And they have a specific thing that they do for a system that they represent.
Right. They just use that particular term when they're talking about young black and brown people.
Yes.
And even Native peoples,
Yeah. But in particular, we need to keep it straight about what we're talking about. We're talking about slavery. Although we have to acknowledge, many of the Native Americans until the 5 civilized, so-called civilized nations.
Yes, sir.
And they conned them to the reservation.
Yeah.
So they've done it to all of us. Okay. That's part of my ancestry. But at least, like Dick Gregory said, at least the Indians got to carry a gun. And we never had that kind of challenge or position in the United States. We're the most loyal people to the United States. There's nobody loyal as we are. And we are not loyal just because the white folk make us be that. We got ancestry here. We had trades going on, with the Moors. All kinds of people were here, trading from West Africa to here, and they knew how to follow the waves and go up the streams when the season was right, came down when it was right. The good old boy took these ships across the Atlantic Ocean, battling them big waves and stuff. But our people have been traveling here, and we know that because when we dug up the Omites, we saw many of them had married Indian women, and they were buried equally in those graves. So we know that was already happening hundreds of years before Christ was even born.
One of the most important books on that topic is They Came Before Columbus.
Yes.
By Van Sermela.
Yeah.
And we have others, that deal with this migration back and forth. But that's the difference between the Africans and the Europeans. When we came, some of us stayed because it was like, hey, I want to move. Just like you moved from Florida to New York, they wanted to move.
And we brought stuff.
And we brought stuff, and then the ones that didn't want to move, they want to go back to Kibulan, the mother Africa. They went. But the Europeans didn't do that. They came, they planted their flag, they pulled out their muskets and their Bibles, and they said, this shit is ours.
Yeah. So this whole thing about we have a generation gap. The thing about it is, I'm 84 years old, and many of y'all was born 15, 20 years ago. But we on the same journey.
Yeah. That
Queen Mother Moore and them was on. That John Clark and all of them was on. We on that same journey.
It's a link. It's a chain.
Yeah.
It's a chain. Everybody's a link.
We just have to know.
Right.
That the link in this chain won't be broken here.
Right.
And it's something that we have to practice. And we are not just practicing it just because we are black. We're practicing because we believe in all of humanity. If you read our Declaration of Independence, we talked about oppression. We said we was going to help fight wars of revolution wherever oppression assaulted mankind. A lot of our people that saw that in the Declaration of Independence didn't understand that our people saw not just what was happening to us then, but the future of the nation race, if we was going to have one that was going to be better than the world already know about.
And just to interject, because prior to you getting here, I was having a conversation with Abiodun Omawali from The Last Poets. And he talked about the same thing you talked about, this our loyalty, and that's best described in Dr. Clark, who you just mentioned again too, that he teaches us that the reason that we are the way we are as African people is because our culture, which is our underbelly, it's the softest part, just like the dragon, that's the softest part, and our culture dictates this. And so that's why we are the way we are. So sometimes our culture can become a hindrance.
Yeah.
Because, if those who recall, those with a short memory or no memory at all, when that white boy killed those 7 people in that church, almost like the next day they forgave him.
Yeah.
Now, people was mad. I was mad. But I understood that even though that made me angry, I understood that that's who we are as a people.
Not only that, they had to stay there.
And they had, yeah, of course. And they had, of course, yes. They had
we didn't have the power to make the change even if we wanted to.
So they measured their words or whatever. But again, it still deals with the culture.
Yes.
Because if we, and you know, this is all part of the conversation, the free flow of information from a young man to an elder. It's like, if we were as brutal as the white man, we'd have been free a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We'd have been free a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, there's been wars here.
It would have been wars, constant
like
war.
it is overseas.
Right. Either they would have made some kind of say, okay, look, y'all take this part and we take this part, and you don't cross, you know, something. But he wouldn't have been able to do what he did to us, the way he did to us, the way he's continued doing to us to this very day.
Yeah, spiritualism won't let us do certain things.
Right, because we
have got nothing to do with fear.
No, it has to do with moral boundaries.
Who we are.
Right. And I just want to point out this thing because this is important for those out there, you know, who think that, you know, we harping on this. Oh, you still blaming the white man? I'm talking about an ideology that they go by, their moral standards. And if you watch their movies, because they give themselves away. There's one in particular. There's so many of them, but there's one in particular I'm gonna bring out. Is the Game of Thrones. For those who out there hadn't seen it, there were two brothers. They were actually blood brothers. But one brother wanted to take the kingdom, so he threw his brother over the bridge, you know? And then we got stories where the mother, the son will kill the father, so the son could marry the mother, and they could take the throne. So that's what I'm saying. It's that moral boundary that they don't have. And that's why they've been able to do what they did, because there's nothing off limits to them. And for us, it's like, kill my mama so I could be a king? Like, nah, dude, I'm not with that. Yeah. You know, I'd rather eat out of garbage cans than kill my mama. You know, to do what? So yeah, so that's something. Like I said, this is deep stuff, and we're not going to get to all of it in the time that's available, because, like I said, these discussions can go on for hours. But we're going to continue, and again, at the end, we'll give some information to those who view this. We're here in Miami, Miami, Florida. We got the People's House out in Miami, right there in Little Haiti. And so we're going to get to that information for those out there who may want to be seeking some more information on what being discussed, and those who want to get involved in this struggle for liberation. So now you were saying about the RNA and everything. So now I know the history, and because I'm now with the Republic of New Africa, I actually held a position, but I want people to know, like, from someone who was there. See, I read the history, I was told the history, but you were there. You were there at the church in Detroit.
Yes.
Tell the people what happened in Detroit and why it happened.
They shot 8 to 1,000 rounds in that church.
Okay, why were y'all at the church? What was the purpose of it? What was the deal?
The first anniversary of the founding of the Republic of New Africa.
Okay.
Was at Aretha Franklin's father's church.
Okay.
He was very progressive, let's say it like that. He didn't like to be called a militant.
Right.
He was very progressive, and he believed in international law. Also, the Church of Black Madonna and his church were the two churches that we was able to have some of the things going on in terms of what we were doing that day. We finally winded up at the 20 Grand Hotel when we actually signed the Declaration of Independence. I had some bad problems with that. As I told one of the brothers in one of the books at the interviews, I knew that I couldn't go back to Dayton because I was one of the delegates. Dayton sent 7 delegates to Detroit to sign the Declaration of Independence. They didn't ask us was we going to sign it. That's what our job was, to go from Dayton, Ohio, to sign it. So one of the things that I've had a lot of guilt throughout the years about, we was in one of those old-fashioned VW vans, you know, the big ones.
The buggies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we was going, and some people that had a car, the van broke down. They gave us the car. I don't know who they were, but when we came back through Indiana, the van, you know, you could stand on one side and look through it. So we don't know what happened to those people, but we know that if it hadn't been for them, that we would have never made it to Detroit to represent Dayton, Ohio at that time. And I felt a lot of guilt about it because I didn't know what happened to the people.
I'm just, give me a second. You know, I use glasses and I'm just trying to figure out. I know that can't be right.
What ain't right?
The time frame, the time. It says 10:27. I know you've been talking more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm not being able to keep track of the time, but I think I should have checked my second clock. But anyway, yeah, because we don't want to run over an hour. We usually run at least an hour, but so we want to kind of start like closing it down, like narrow it down. Basically, again, I just want to say that for me personally, it's been a blessing and an honor to have met Pt2, ex-Ali Rashid, better known to the community as Gen Rashid. It's been an honor and it's been a great education. Actually, like I said before, I found my home when I found the Republic of New Africa, when I got to Miami. And so now, General, we've been dealing with a lot of young people, different organizations, the Workers Center. What was the other places that we used to go here in Miami? It was the Workers Center. What was the other one? I know it's been a minute because some of them kind of fizzled out, but we basically worked alongside and assisted different community organizations, and so now everything that you've seen in your journey to this point at being 84, what message do you have to young people? Like what is it? What do you think that you could offer that is still relevant today that they need to know?
They can't quit because they're mad.
Okay.
You can't shoot each other because when you shoot one of them, you shoot yourself. We need soldiers. Dead soldiers, it's all right to talk about them and how great they was, but we need arms and legs and minds.
Okay.
We need minds to grow this idea. They might not look at it like I look at it because of the conditions of time, but what they have to look at is oppression, inequality, inhumanity that we suffer in these prisons. It's like the chain gang that we suffer with the police, that we suffer with this damn government that keeps on dividing us by letting us have Oprah Winfrey, few, and make them billionaires, and the money don't mean a damn thing. Oprah Winfrey wanted to deal with the ghetto schools. They said, no, Africa needs you better, go over there. Then she went over there, and she was on her way. She stopped somewhere in Italy. When I was looking at some of them bags, they looked at her, didn't even know her. They said, no, you can't afford that. Okay. And she could afford to buy the whole damn town, not just the store. Okay. But that's what that inequality means. So we have got to get up off this stuff that one is better than the other. One got a little money, one got a little poor. Nothing's going to happen until all of us have a right to humanity, have a right to be born and live, and somebody gets punished when they kill us without due process. That's what young people got to learn. Okay. It's not about one of us, it's about all of us.
And I just want to add to that too, because I noticed that you brought some books, and that's one of the things that we do on this podcast at the end. We are solution-orientated. This is an activist space right here. Like, it's not so much talking about the problems, talking about the cracker and the oppression and all that stuff. That's all happening. But we have to offer some type of solutions, because that's one thing sometimes I find lacking in a lot of these discussions. So for me, it's always been, the books. Again, I remind people, Google and YouTube, those are good tools, but you cannot escape the text. We have to get into the text and start, like I said before, I'm saying every time at the end of every episode, we start with study groups and figure out, and because our ancestors, they left us books. Just like the people in Kemet, what they call Egyptians now, they left us texts. And now our ancestors, Dr. Wilson, Dr. Amos Wilson, Marimba Ani, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Frederick Douglass, I mean, they left us books. And that information is still in those books and it's still relevant. So I wanted to go really quick, General, because like I said, I cannot go without thing. You can talk about, give a little brief discussion on each of the books that you brought.
Yeah, this is a book that Dr. Sabi
put it in front of the camera so people can see.
Yeah, he signed that book for me. He was a.
For those who don't, you gotta check out Dr. Sabi.
Yeah.
Yeah, this brother was real powerful.
Yeah.
In fact, the left eye, she went to go see him, and she got cured, and then she got killed.
Yeah. And this is a sister that was part of the development of our Constitution, the later Constitution, and she.
This is right there.
And she one of the people that had some interviews with me.
And I know the sister personally in Kiki Tafia, beautiful sister.
And this is another brother that did an interview with me. He was talking about
Free the Land.
Yeah, Free the Land. That's the second version of Free the Land. Obadella has the first version.
Okay.
Yeah. And this book here is one of the greatest books.
Yes.
It's very expensive. It's called Without Sanction. And it is a book that talks about all of the history of the things that happened to us as a people.
And just so we don't forget, because this is really in tune with the spirit of the Republic of Africa, we have a national paper. It's called Rebuild, and it deals basically. You see, still got the flag. That's the flag of the Republic of New Africa. Yes, right there. So we have an organ that we can.
We also have As We Build.
As We Build, yes.
Yeah. It's another brother who are talking about the history of us, and it's like this paper. I know both of the people who put out both of them. Okay. And both of them is good. We need more than one news source.
Absolutely.
We need more than one person talking about it, because we need to, although it's the same history, we need to get it from different points of view, where the people are at, where they reside at, so that we can get this chain back together. You understand? I mean, there's no such thing as raising a nation without a chain.
Right.
Okay. And we have to stop going in circles, which we are doing now. Looking at each other, blaming each other for something that we had nothing to do with. We have to get tolerant of each other. We don't have any tolerance of each other. We tolerate all of this crap that happened to us as a people, so-called militants and all, and we don't do a damn thing about it. And we got to stop thinking that we're going to win this war without bloodshed.
I say to that.
I'm telling you. And if we look at history, not because I said, look at the Bible, look at the Holy Quran, look at the Torah, look at Leviticus, look at all those holy books. And they books of war. Yeah, the Creator said some things and did some things. Well, who was it? David, or one of them that wanted his brother's wife, and he sent him up to the front line to get killed. That's in the Bible. So we are not doing something that ain't been done before in history. But what we do know is that there's never been a time when a group of people raised, unless they raised the lowest, in the bed of the seas of oppression. If we're not willing to do that, I don't care how many degrees you get, I don't care how many people you know, I don't care how much money you get, it's still limited. You can't spend it in Russia. You can't spend it, you can't even spend it in the Caribbean unless you're actually white folk, can you do it? We've been trying to set up with 10 nations that we've been dealing with down in the Caribbean, and we haven't been able to actually do that. But we're working on the government house down in Mississippi, and we are going to be inviting all those people to come and see the government house, come and see the areas where we are actually building in Mississippi. We do have an area there that we are actually building, and we got people there who are still doing what we're supposed to do. So when we get to Government House, and I'm hoping that I can be here long enough to make sure that that happens, because that was the house that Obadeli chose. You know, people saying, well, we can get 10 houses for that price, but Obadeli chose it. Don't tell me you believe in Obadeli and his books and his writing,
Right.
and you're going to talk about a few dollars, which we've been arguing about. I spent a lot of money down there. I'm a professional contractor. I'll be spending some more money, some more time down there, because, you know, we said we give our life, our resources, because it is necessary. That's what I'll be doing until the Creator knocks on the door and say, well done. I hope that's what he says.
Well, I believe so, because like I said, you know, and something that you always taught me, you always go by the person's record, their
Yes.
track record.
Yes.
It's not what comes out their mouth. Let me check out your track record.
Yes.
You know, you coming out in, you come on talking those Mangamba one day, and then I look at your track record, and you've been killing our people and talking shit about our people.
Yeah.
You ain't shit. It's our track record.
Yeah, that's what's going to come.
That's the only thing that's going to come. And another thing that Kwame Ture, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael, taught us that the first thing you have to have is an undying love for your people.
Yes.
I hate when people bring up money first.
Yeah.
That's not the first thing. An undying love for your people. And remember our comrade Fahim, you know, I never forget it. Remember we had that big meeting in my backyard, right?
Yeah.
And he asked everybody, what's the first thing we need? Everybody gave a bunch of answers. All of y'all are wrong. Commitment. Commitment to our people. And yes, money will come, but sometimes, you know, you don't, and you know, even Kwame Ture said, when we talked about the South, after this we're going to close, he said, when you do for the people will look out for you. They wasn't getting, they got a little stipend. They weren't getting no money being out there, but the people fed them. The people made sure they had water and stuff like that. But the people will take care of you if you take care of the people.
Yeah.
You know, so stop harping on this. I know we need money. I ain't trying to say we don't need. We need money. We don't need money. You know, this is the house of spirits.
We are the sixth richest nation
Right.
on the planet. We got more money than Israel, Egypt, and all them put together.
Exactly. I mean, they just spent something like $2 or $3 trillion in 20 years in Afghanistan. Talking about we ain't got no money. They told me 32. According to the reports, they spending $32 million a day, and we ain't got no money. But again, for the people out there in the movement, in the struggle for liberation, yes, we need money. We got to pay our rent. We got to eat. We got to do all this. Put gas in our car. We know that. But that's not the first thing on the agenda. The first thing is commitment to your people and an undying love for your people. And everything else will come. Because I remind people, when Malcolm was assassinated, he left 2 suits. He only had 2 suits. That's it. Okay, so there's materialism, you know, that's another trick. We talked about individualism and all that stuff. That's a trick that the bourgeoisie, academics and press try to push on us, that everything is about materialism and individualism, you know, but it's not. It's not. So,
Unity is the key to this thing.
yes, sir. Umoja, the first principle of Kwanzaa is Umoja.
Yeah. And we don't have to agree on everything.
Absolutely not.
But we got to agree on our condition that's continually be after 402 years.
Right. Because
I mean, we're some of the most intelligent people in the world.
Absolutely.
But I believe in spiritualism. I believe in a creator. But the book said, let us make man in our image. It definitely wasn't talking about the color of our skin or nothing like that. It was talking about that computer that goes for 100 years without even getting fixed, called the mind.
Exactly.
And we have to unite that around our conditions, not individual conditions. You know, like, you know, I don't have to be here. I can go somewhere, you know, but my conscience won't let me do that. Because I remember when I was sleeping in Ohio in a cardboard tent, and it's raining, it's snowing like hell on the outside.
Dig that.
We had a big fire that kept us warm. One brother decided that he was going to rip off, because we had a food thing that You had everything in the river because that river that's coming down through Columbus is very
Oh,
cold. It's very
that's a
cold.
refrigerator.
Yeah.
Natural refrigerator.
And that's where we had the food.
Yeah.
Nobody stole nothing.
Yeah.
And this brother got his brain blowed out because he stole something. That was principle.
Yeah.
We don't have that no more. We got to get back to that. And if
we
we get back to principle, ain't nothing this man can do to us. What, kill us?
No.
Doing that every day.
No.
And we're dying for nothing. We're not dying for a cause. We're not dying to create better things.
Right.
We're dividing ourselves under the Willie Lynch BS.
Right. Yeah, like I said, you know, that's why Malcolm and Dr. King and Brother Malcolm, Haj Malik al-Shabazz, they couldn't buy them. They say, I ain't interested in material. I want some freedom.
Yeah.
And I want some justice. You know, and that's free. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to pay for that. It should be natural. You know?
Yeah.
And of course, you know, all human beings will always have conflict, but you know, we can't get into that topic because that's a whole different story about warfare. Again, just be careful with the bourgeoisie academics of the press trying to trick us into this.
By the way, I was going through videos, you know, trying to get this stuff in order. And I came up on a video where they comparing Malcolm and King.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying the same thing. They would show Malcolm, they would show King. They would show I got that video. And
in fact, I read the book by called James Cone.
Yeah.
James Cone, you know.
Yeah.
It was The Dream and the Nightmare. That was the name of the book. You know. But again, it's that balance, you know. But the one thing they had in common, whether you disagree with them, they both loved their people.
Yes.
They both, and how do I know that? Because they both took a bullet for their people.
Yes.
You know, and that's the defining thing. So on that note, we say when we always greet each other and leave each other, we always say free the land.
Free the land.
And we always stand up and do the thing, but you know the camera doesn't allow us to get that thing until I get a little bit more fancy. I get a crew maybe one of these days, but right now this is some guerrilla shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
One thing that I would like to say.
Yes,
we
sir.
always end it with. I would like to say the pledge.
Okay, we can say the pledge.
For the fruition of black power.
For the fruition of black power.
For the triumph of black nationhood.
For the triumph of black nationhood.
I pledge.
I pledge.
To the Republic of New Africa.
To the Republic of New Africa.
Building of better people and a better world.
To the building of a better people and a better world.
My total resources.
My total resources.
The total power of my mortal life.
The total power of my mortal life.
Free the land.
Free the land.
Free the land.
Free the land.
Free the land. By any and all means
necessary. Black power. And on that note, it's time off. And again, don't forget, subscribe, share this video with everybody that you know, and please subscribe, support this Grunt TV, and we will see you for the next episode. I got so many more powerful guests coming on. I got Abiodun from the Last Poets. I'll be doing Obawali from the Last Poets. I got Delia Pagan for Revolutionary from Puerto Rico, and so many more. Bringing you truth, power, and justice, and one love.